Hi, I'm Nathaniel, but everybody calls me Nate. And one day, a gorgeous stranger gave me her jacket when I was homeless. Turned out, it had a huge key and the address to a castle filled with maids waiting for me. Before anything else, though, you know the drill. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. At 18, I was homeless. Yeah, as soon as the clock hit midnight on my birthday, my family threw me out on the streets. My mother insisted that I was old enough to be on my own, and since I was only adopted, I didn't deserve to leech off of them for longer than was necessary. Her words, not mine. So much for a mother's love, right? Okay, maybe she didn't physically throw me out, but my mom kept repeating those things she said. On my birthday of all days, she kept saying, "You're 18 now, you shouldn't even be here anymore." And, "You're not even our kid. Legally, we don't have to feed you anymore." So, I chose to do what she wanted. I took what I could carry and ran away. I didn't even know if I was adopted until then. And the way my mother said it was just so careless. As if I was supposed to know all along. No explanation. No story of how I came to be adopted. Nothing. I didn't really know how to react. And the fact that she kept suggesting I move out immediately made me do it. My dad and older sister didn't even say anything to defend me. They just kept watching the TV as if nothing was happening. When I finally packed my stuff and went for the door, my sister said with so much annoyance in her voice, "Bye!" I ended up having to live on the streets. I tried a few homeless shelters here and there, but I could only stay in them for so long. I thought I was still pretty young and had the strength to survive. I didn't want to take someone else's spot in the shelters for too long. Because, as I learned from being on the streets, many of the homeless were elderly and sick. The odd thing was, I always had a weird feeling as if someone was watching me. One time, I swear I caught someone following me. But then I just ignored it. I thought, maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe it was just because I'm on my own now, and that being homeless and living on the streets was insanely scary. It was on a snowy day that my luck changed. I was shivering on the park bench that I'd been spending a few nights on when suddenly, a woman dressed in the fanciest clothes I've ever seen walked straight up to me. She carried herself with so much grace and she looked so elegant. It felt almost as if I was meeting a princess. Good day, I said through the chattering of my teeth and the shuddering of my shoulders. What can I do for you, miss? Without a word, she slid her luxurious coat off and dropped it at my feet. And then, in the prettiest voice, she said, "Good day. Don't freeze yourself to death out here." And then she walked off and got into a waiting car. I couldn't even react quickly enough to say thanks. I picked up the coat, slung it over my shoulders, and slipped my arms into the sleeves. Suddenly, the world changed. The coat was so warm I could swear it was magic. My teeth stopped chattering and I stopped shivering. The only part of me left cold were my hands, and so I dug them into the coat's pockets. Surprise came over me when I found that there was something in there. A huge key. And when I fished it out to examine it, a tag with some ornate writing was attached to the golden key. My first thought was that I needed to return it. It was the least I could do to thank her for her kindness. And luckily, the writing on the key's tag seemed to be an address. I immediately walked into the address's direction. When I could, I hitchhiked as far as people would take me. And after a few hours out in the countryside where no other houses were, I finally saw the house the key belonged to. I say house, but it was really more like a palace. "Hello?" I called out after having checked to see if there was anyone near the gates. I called out 3 times and didn't get an answer. I tried the doorbell with not much luck either. And then I noticed the keyhole on the gates. It was coincidentally about the right size and shape as the key I found. Something in me said it was wrong to randomly trespass even if I had the key. But I don't know. Maybe it was more curiosity. I just wanted to find out if it was actually a key to the palatial house. And so I put the key into the keyhole. And to my surprise, it fit perfectly. When I turned it, the massive gates clicked and swung open. It took me half an hour just to get from the massive gates to the actual front door. I was about to knock when the door suddenly flew open, and I had to jump back in both fear and surprise. In front of me was a beautiful girl dressed in a maid's uniform. She had a wide smile on her face as she bowed and gestured for me to come in. "Hello, master," she said. "We've been expecting you." Master? Expecting? I stammered. What did she mean by that? She then led me to a massive marble bathroom where in the middle there was a freestanding bathtub made of solid gold, so huge that it could have comfortably fit at least 3 people. Okay, I said. Thank you for showing me this beautiful tub. I'm really just here to bring back this key that the lady forgot in her coat. Could you maybe call her, please? I also want to thank her for the coat. The maid giggled and blushed. Master, would you please kindly take a bath? We've drawn a perfect warm bath for you. If you so require, I can call the other maids to help you out with the bathing. What? I exclaimed as I turned a bright shade of red. Help me with... No. I can take a bath on my own, thank you. As master pleases, said the maid. The master's clothes are laid out on top of the mahogany wardrobe by the sink. Please ring the bell by the side of the sink when you are finished, and we'll come to assist you. And then she closed the doors and disappeared before I could even ask the millions of questions I had in my head. What was with all the formality? Why did she keep calling me master, and why are they making me take a bath? Well, I thought the lady was super rich after all. Maybe she just didn't want me to interact with her while being dirty and gross. Still, it didn't explain the whole master stuff. When I was done bathing and changing, I rang the bell as the maid instructed, and within a few seconds the doors to the bathroom opened wide. In came about 20 or 30 girls, all dressed in the same maid's uniform as the first one I met. They all smiled and curtsied, and simultaneously they all said, "Welcome home, master." I didn't know what to say or how to react, and so I just said, thanks? I guess? Home? What did they mean? The maid who opened the door approached me, looked me up and down, walked around me in a circle, and patted some fallen strands of hair off my shoulder. Then she straightened the shirt I had on. "You are ready," she said. "You must prepare yourself to be announced. It is time for you to meet the king." There were murmurs of excitement from the other maids. "You will stand at the bottom of the stairs. Sir Kirstenhoff will announce your arrival, and then you will bow when the king arrives," she said. "Please stand up straight, master." I thought I was, I said. "Oh no, that simply won't do," said the maid. She put her hand on the small of my back and pushed it forward. I recoiled from her touch. I had never been touched like that by a girl before, and certainly not in front of about 30 other giggling girls. It made my cheeks flush with embarrassment. "Please keep still," said the maid. She then pulled my shoulders back until I could feel my shoulder blades meet, and with her fingers, she instructed me to keep my chin up. "Much better," she said. "Now, do you know how to bow?" I shook my head no. "Of course not," she said in disappointment. "Luckily, you don't have to learn to curtsy. From men, one must simply bow with your head down, eyes on the floor or your shoes. You may only look at the king when he has finally addressed you and is in front of you. You understand, master?" Yeah, I think so," I said. "Would master do us the honor of a demonstration?" asked the maid. I stood up straight the way she told me and did a solemn bow with my head. And then the room erupted with impressed applause. I would have never thought that bowing could make girls that excited. "It's time," said one of the other maids. And that was when they all led me to a massive room with marble columns and gold-framed paintings. The maids curtsied all at the same time to me, and one by one, they filed out of the room without a word or a sound. At the end of the hall was a huge staircase, and at the bottom of the stairs was a man, almost obscured by shadows. He stood up straight and alert, the way the maids taught me how. By his side, a sword hung on a belt, and he carried himself in such a way that reminded me of a knight. Without warning, the knightly man's voice boomed and echoed through the cavernous hall. "My king, the prince has arrived! May I present to you His Royal Majesty, Prince Nicholas Leopold Albrecht.